What I am doing now is getting ready to fertilize my fruit trees. I fertilized them early February. Whenever I noticed that they were starting to bud and they were starting to come out of dormancy, I hit them all with a fertilizer. This was the fertilizer that I used. This is Dr. Earth's brand organic fruit tree fertilizer. And this stuff is awesome. With it, you can make teas with it. You can top dress your trees and even strawberries and other berry and fruit plants. You can also mix this into a water. It's water soluble, and use that as the fertilizer, which is similar but slightly different than the tea. In a garden tea, you would steep it for at minimum 24 hours. In a quick feed fertilizer, you would just dissolve a smaller amount of the fertilizer into a gallon of water and water the trees and plants with it. So I want to pause for just a moment, and I want to talk about my books. Crash Course into Gardening. Here I have book 2. This is From Seed to Harvest. And I want to mention this because if you didn't know how to take care of your fruit trees, well, it's in here. It is in this book, From Seed to Harvest. In this book, you will learn how to grow over 120 plants from seed all the way to harvest. Book 1 is all about gardening. How to, the beginnings, what you need, things that you should know to get started in your gardening adventure. Here, this book 2 is all about how to grow things from seed to harvest. And in it, I talk about fruit trees. In order to find what I'm looking for, let me open it up to the table of contents. Here we have the table of contents. Now, based on the table of contents, I hope that you can notice that there is a theme. Of course, there's always an introduction. Let's talk plants, type of plants and how they're eaten and used. And then we got rooting vegetables, allium families. We're breaking it down into the plant families, chapter by chapter. Let's browse. Fruits. It doesn't say trees, does it? But are we fertilizing fruit trees? We are. Fruits. Page 143. Here we go. Whole chapter on fruits. Fruits, berries, bushes, vines, and trees. Strawberries, blueberries, cranberries, raspberries, grapes, kiwi, fruit trees. All right. Apple, plum, peach, pear, and cherry. Now they all grow very similarly, so it made sense to group them all together. Save space and reading time. Now on the right-hand column, there's a bunch of information about fruit trees, these types specifically. The information is very similar. And if I'm trying to find out how do I fertilize this, we'll come right down here to fruit tree fertilizer at 10-10-10 NPK. Now what that means is equal parts nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus. There is a lot of useful, helpful information in this book. If you're interested in taking a look at Crash Course into Gardening, I'm going to leave a link down below in the description for you to be able to find them. And I want to thank you so much. I am self-published. I wrote, designed, put all the pictures in this book. I put the last 2.5, almost 3 years of my life into these 2 books. I'm very excited about them. All right, now we spoke about the fruit tree fertilizer, and the NPK rating on this is 552, which is, it's just a really low dose, get the tree, just kind of help it move it along. And this fertilizer will feed your trees or your fruit plants or vines for 3 months. So I only have to do this once every 3 months. Now here I have a 10-10 fertilizer. This is 10-10-10 NPK. This is a water fertilizer. I would mix this in my 2-gallon waterer here and just water the plants directly. Now this only feeds the plants for 7 days. So this is kind of like your emergency boost. Like you notice, oh, there's yellowing in the leaves. I can sense that there is some sort of deficiency. Let's throw some 10-10-10 on it. And within a week, 2 weeks after feeding it once or twice, you'll notice it's starting to bounce back. At that point, you would then add this. Now there is absolutely nothing wrong with my trees. This one behind me, this is an apple tree. I grew this from seed, and yes, it does have a whole lot of trunks. I am leaving it like this. I chose this amount of trunks. There were more, and I cut them off. And what I'm going to be doing very soon is taking stakes on the side, and I'm going to be shaping this tree. I thought that it would be really cool if I could shape it. I'm getting tore up by mosquitoes. Let's go ahead and get fertilizing. I wanted you to see that there are 2 types you can fertilize with 10-10-10. You can also just use your standard fruit tree fertilizer. This would be your slow release fertilizer, meaning that it feeds for a longer extended period of time. And this would be your fast release fertilizer, meaning that it feeds very quickly and not for a very long time. So I will not be using this today because, like I said, there's nothing wrong with any of my fruit trees. They just need their top off. No matter what fertilizer you're using, organic is all that I use, but whether it's organic or not, you always want to follow the instructions on the back of the bag or box or whatever it comes in to a T. More isn't better when it comes to fertilizers. Actually, less is better for following the recipe. So I'm going to follow the recipe. So I'm going to follow the instructions. I kept saying recipe. Why did I say? Because I'm mixing it. That's why I said recipe. Instructions follows instructions. We got citrus and avocado, fruit and nut, and then fruit, vines, and berries. It gives us 3 different ways to feed 3 different types of plants. See, this isn't citrus or avocado. This is apple. These 3 trees over here are apple. The fruit and nut. New plantings established. Okay. Use 1 cup for every inch of trunk diameter, measured at 4 to 6 inches above the soil line. Work into the soil and then gently water. That's what I'll be doing. Here I have a mason jar that I found outside because nobody takes their stuff inside. So I'm just going to pour it into the mason jar so that I don't have to stick my whole hand in the bag. I'll just kind of sprinkle over, work it into the top of the soil, water it in, and I'll be good to go. Here's what that fertilizer looks like. Alright, now you can see the fertilizer there in the hole. I'm going to go ahead and fertilize the other trees, come back, water it in, and then cover it back over. We're going to come over here. Oh, look how pretty all that mullein is. I didn't plant any of this. This all random seed, I guess, dropped over here. I don't know how it got here. I obviously had the seed and it wound up over here. But I'm leaving it. I might separate it off a bit, but it's staying. In the coming days, I will be getting compost, and then I will be top dressing these trees with compost. But for now, this is going to work just fine. They needed a little boost of fertilizer. Here on, no, not that tree, the one behind me, the Gala apple tree, there's a whole lot of little apples. I'll show you. Now, a lot of them, see, these are too close together. What I need to do is come through and select the best looking little apples and thin them to about 4 to 6 inches. That'll ensure that I get good fruit. Well, I want to thank you so much for hanging out with me today. We fertilized some trees. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up. YouTube's algorithm really likes those likes. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Hollow Acres Homestead. We'll see you next time. Thanks for stopping by.